All right. Good morning, everybody. Amy Conley here with United Way of Door County. We are doing our series of interviews with our strategic partners, the programs that we are funding this year in 2021. And with me today is Millie Gonzalez. Millie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Millie Gonzalez. I'm the Executive Director of Help of Door County.
Wonderful. And this year we are funding three different programs at Help of Door County. We are funding the Domestic Violence Program, the Visitation and Exchange Program, and the Domestic Violence Intervention Program. And today we're going to talk about the Domestic Violence Program. So Millie, do you want to take a few minutes to tell our viewers about that program?
Sure. So our domestic violence program basically does all of the crisis intervention and prevention programming within Help of Door County. So if you are a survivor, if you're a victim of domestic violence, if you want to get education or get in our leadership programs, like our youth programming, this is the program that covers all of that. So a lot of folks oftentimes when they think about domestic violence, they think about the safe homes and the crisis planning, the intervention, the safety planning, and we do all of that. We do cover certain basic needs and making sure that you're getting the services that you need from beginning to end and making sure that that's tailor-made for you. Another piece of our domestic violence programming is our legal advocacy. So we primarily do the majority of restraining orders here in Door County. And that includes the domestic violence, the domestic abuse restraining order, child abuse restraining order, elder or people at risk restraining order, as well as a harassment restraining order. And all of us are qualified and we do all of those restraining orders. We also intervene with like emotional support. So if you're going through a divorce and domestic violence was a factor within that divorce or child custody hearing, any kind of family court, or even criminal cases, we will be there for emotional support and we will be there with you throughout that process. But understanding that all of our services are tailor-made to the needs and the wants of our clients. On top of that, we do youth programming. So not only do we do advocacy with adults, we do advocacy with children, and knowing like we do the same kinds of thing of safety planning, playing safety and teaching this education of what's boundaries, what's healthy, what isn't. The side of that, the prevention work that we're doing is all of our youth initiatives. And a lot of folks already know about FIRE. So that's our high school group from freshman to senior year, Forging Youth Relationship Education. And they've gone all throughout our community, all throughout the state, actually, teaching on what domestic violence looks like. And it's a youth empowered, youth led program where we're talking about all of these things to kind of prevent what domestic violence looks like. And we know that teen dating violence, 1 in 4 youth will experience teen dating violence in the state of Wisconsin. So what we do is we try and take a preventative approach by teaching all of these things. And we're just happy to announce that we will be expanding that program to even younger ages. So
Wonderful.
yeah, so Sparks is going to be starting up, and that's from ages 8 through 10. And then 11 through 13 will be Flame. And that actually came from an idea from one of the youth that and was invited to our summit. And she was one of the younger kids there. And she said something about, you can't have a fire without a spark. And it was like, wait a minute, she has something good to, like, this is legit.
Yeah.
And we thought about that and we played with that idea for the last 2 years. And we're going to be kicking off those events. So look at our Facebook page. Those events will be announced this summer and throughout the school year. And then we were thinking we need to have something for those middle school ages. And what's really exciting is our current FIRE members are going to help us kind of like launch these 2 programs. So that falls under the domestic violence programming, but just understanding it's the education, it's the crisis intervention, it's all of these things. It's our support groups, it's our educational groups at the Door County Jail that we do where we're teaching healthy relationships and we're teaching all of these skills so that we can be a better, safer, healthier community.
Well, Millie, that is just amazing, everything you're doing. And I love the sparks. I love the flame. It is that prevention is key because we know that kids might be witnessing things. at home. And we want to stop that cycle. So many of the different conversations we've been having lately are around the cycle, whether that's the cycle of poverty, the cycle of mental health, drugs and alcohol addiction, or now violence. And showing that there's other ways, right, to have a respectful relationship.
Yeah, and what's really cool about these initiatives and just basically the work that we do within the community is that domestic violence doesn't happen in a vacuum, right? So knowing that all of these things that you talked about, the generational poverty, generational trauma, all of these things, racism, oppression, that heteronormativity, or even like we have a very strong elder population. By the way, today's Elder Abuse Awareness Day.
I was going to
Local.
mention that. Yes.
And all of this stuff is affecting our community, especially knowing that over a third of our population in Door County is the elder population, but we're all interconnected, and these are all roots of domestic violence. So anytime we have violence or oppression or any kind of imbalance of power and control, whether it is like poverty or, like I said, any kind of like oppression, like racism and ableism and ageism, all of these isms, right?
Yeah.
That intersects with domestic violence, and whatever's happening in society and culture is reflective of what's going to happen in the home. And whatever happens in the home is reflective in society and culture. So we're kind of right now in this vicious cycle, and we need to stop these cycles in all the ways that we possibly can.
So if someone who's watching this thinks that maybe I should call Help of Door County, or I have a friend maybe who should call Help of Door County, how do they reach you, Millie?
Yeah, give us a call at 920-743-8818. The 8818 number is our 24-hour hotline. So even if our offices are closed, we have a phone that's being monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year, even the holidays. And then also understand that you can reach out, make a phone call. And if you're still not ready yet, we're pretty active on our social media accounts. So we're always putting really good articles on what domestic violence looks like, and even our Instagram, just like these little tidbits that we put out there. But know that if you're concerned about somebody, you can reach out to us too, and we can give you that education and teach you how to be supportive of the people that we love. Because sometimes we mean well and we end up further harming. So just know to refer them to our services, or you yourself come in, and then we can help along that way. And sometimes people are in domestic violent relationships not knowing it, just because things have become so normal. And that's the really big educational piece, and understanding that we're educating and we're serving the folks that we do, not to shame or to say, you know, kind of put you in a box or give you some sort of identity, but understanding that education is power, and having this education is so empowering, and it will allow you to see things from different perspectives and get you plugged into the services that you need.
Wonderful. Well, Millie, we are so thankful for everything that Help of Door County does. So we have been ending these interviews with a question around ALICE. So for our viewers, ALICE stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, Employed. So people who are above the poverty level, but are living paycheck to paycheck, aren't able to put any money in savings, maybe just feel they're continually getting behind, right? So what are some ways that Help of Door County assists this group that we call ALICE?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know how many people are affected by financial abuse, or that economic manipulation and that abuse that comes through that, and understanding that it's a very high percentage. 98% of all the people we serve are being financially exploited. And that's a national statistic also. So that's not just Wisconsin. Nationally, it's actually between 95 to 99%. So depending where we are, but here it's 98%. And understanding that because we're intersectional, and because different people and everybody experiences domestic violence, right? But most people who are not living in that ALICE category will have the ability to go to their second home, or will have the ability to book that hotel by themselves, or they'll be able to maybe go stay with a friend or family member without having that or without having that affect the people they're staying with, right? But the majority of the people that we serve are living within that poverty line or within ALICE. And what we do is we help give them not only the education, but also those basic services that are needed in order to free themselves and liberate themselves from these abusive relationships. So sometimes that looks like toilet paper, paper products, right?
Right.
Basic hygiene. And I don't think that our community really understands the great need. It's been really easy for our clients to find food within the community. I know that United Way and all of our community has been very generous with that. And we're so thankful for that, right? But at the end of the day, it's sometimes when you are on food share or food stamps and you're getting this, you're not allowed to buy certain things that are needed, like that toilet paper or toothpaste or toothbrushes or clothing in order to go do an interview. And those are things and bridges that we gap together within our services. So knowing sometimes it's a cell phone. You can't get around without a cell phone nowadays, and especially if your phone and your phone calls are being monitored by someone abusive in your home, knowing that you have that safe, that connection to the outside world, to law enforcement, to services to get you plugged in.
Well, wonderful. Well, Millie, thank you so much for sharing with us today. And we are going to hear from Millie in a few weeks about her other programs. So if you want to learn more about HELP, tune in for those, or as Millie said, give her a call anytime over at Help of Door County. Thanks, Millie. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.